It's the original International House of Mojo. Wonder who the voodoo lady hired to run the place after she relocated to Puerto Pollo.
Hi, I'm Jason Harang, aka Udvernoki.
Hello, I'm... what? Hello, I'm Gabriel. I've already screwed this up. You might know me as Gabez. Now you, Tingler.
I'm Chris, the Tingler Cable, and I apologise for interrupting Great Gabriel and jumping in early.
And I'm Peter Silk, aka Surplus Gamer, aka Mr. Coulomb in the old days.
I love the old days.
And we're back very briefly after our last podcast because a mere day after we recorded it, a small game called Monkey Fucking Island was announced. So we kind of have to discuss that. And it's kind of weird because, you know, for all the previous games, you know, the announcement and the game's release was like 7 months apart at minimum. And now we only have like 1 month between the first Telltale episode to air our speculations and concerns and excitement and all these things. It's like the area has been crunched down tremendously.
Yeah,
Swines.
if someone had told me that this was going to happen 2 weeks ago, then I just would have laughed.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, we do look like idiots in that first podcast now. It's pretty great.
I'm going to start off with an apology to LucasArts, though, for calling them soulless.
I think in my podcast I called them a hulking zombie of a company which should just die. Someone should just shoot it in the head.
Yeah, but other than that, you like
came
them.
out.
So.
But I've officially apologised now.
Yeah, I
I'll
think I
never
should
say
do
a
the
bad
same.
word of them again, unless they cancel it.
Which
So-
they probably will, let's be honest.
Trying to think of what we would actually talk about. You know, something I think would be cool to share is like ideas we've always had for Monkey Island 5, because you know the fourth game has been like it's been 9 years since Escape from Monkey Island, and I think after a couple of years everyone kind of gave up on the possibility of there being a fifth one, but everyone kind of has their what if ideas, like, you know, what if there was a Monkey Island 5, what would it sound like? Just to give an example, I can remember like a billion years ago on the Monkey Island forums, back when people used to post there, I think it was Jake and Lucas Tones who like proposed the idea that in Monkey Island 5, like Guybrush and LeChuck should partner up, because it might be funny to like there might be like some comedy fodder and them like having to grudgingly work together to defeat some like even bigger foe. And you know, Bill Tiller once said that like his version of Monkey Island 5 would have been like kind of like The Incredibles with kind of a retired Guybrush springing back into action. Like, what would your ideal Monkey Island 5 look like for you guys?
Well,
Go on.
well, I always wanted like a full-on LeChuck raising all the undead pirates. It's going after Guybrush and maybe say Jambalaya Island being turned into a big undead town with
That would
only
be
like
cool.
Stan selling replacement limbs and still alive. Murray hanging around as like king.
Well, you know that horrible cliche that nobody likes it when they wake up and it's all a dream, that sort of thing. Obviously that's a horrible way to get away with doing a plot, but
They've sort of done that though, haven't they?
yeah, in the case of Escape from Monkey Island, I'd be perfectly happy if all of that was just a horrible, horrible dream
Yeah,
that
but
really happened.
But whatever you
I
say,
am going to disagree with that.
whatever
but
you
it's
say
not-
about Monkey Island 4, you have to admit the ending. They left it appropriately open-ended. You know, H.T. Marley is now the governor of Melee Island. They're done with the politics stuff. You know, the game closed with Guybrush and Elaine just kind of being free to have a more traditional pirate adventure. It's just like they can do whatever they want with Part 5. There's no real baggage. So, I mean, there's really no need for that.
Apart from explaining what happened to LeChuck and how he got out of the ultimate insult.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that would have been an issue in any game. You're always going to defeat LeChuck at the end and have to explain that in the next one.
I suppose so, but I don't know. I know that you feel differently about this, Jason, but I feel so let down by Escape from Monkey Island that I
I
can't.
don't.
Well, no, that's fine. I'm just saying it's not like, I mean, the whole point of the ending of Monkey Island 4 to me was that, like, the fifth game had no obligation to continue any of the plot. Like, they never had to show HT again if they didn't want to. Like, all it said was that, like, in the next game, Guybrush and Elaine can just be on whatever kind of unrelated adventure they want to be on.
But I guess that Telltale still felt the need to sort of distance themselves from it, because that's what they seem to have done by creating this idea of the imaginary Monkey Island 5 that we don't get to see, and the
Yeah, that's quite
series
cute.
the series is actually Monkey Island 6 in a way.
Yeah, I'm still very confused by that quote. I don't even know what they meant by that.
I think it's to give them like sort of freedom to like start again, and
Yeah.
so you can start it from scratch and not have to play the other ones.
Yeah,
But
they
you
don't
know-
even need to.
But here's
Go
the
on.
here's the thing: none of the other games really continued right after the previous one. Like Monkey Island 2 was several months after the first game. Like Guybrush became like a legitimate pirate. He starts off with all this loot. Like he presumably went on all these unseen adventures between the first two games. And I mean, when Curse of Monkey Island opened up, you know, he had escaped from whatever they decided the ending of Monkey Island 2 was, but it was still like, you know, how the hell did he get out of there? There was a whole story there, imaginary story. And when Monkey Island 4, it starts off when Elaine and
Well,
Guybrush...
3 and 4, they sort of try to explain, sort of saying this happened before at the beginning. With this one, they can sort of start from scratch, and no one's any the wiser. They don't have to explain anything.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, it seems to be implied at the beginning of Tales of Monkey Island that a bigger adventure has happened maybe than what you would have seen before the other games, that there's some sort of grand adventure that's taken place and we're just getting to what would be the close of that, except then some crazy shit happens.
I like that. That's the Indiana Jones style.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that too, but I do think that the previous games did do that to some extent. Escape from Monkey Island did open up
Monkey Island
with
2 especially.
with some ship battle that Elaine and Guybrush's honeymoon ship was involved with. I mean, we don't know how that battle came about. You know, the games do have a tendency to start off in the middle of the action, and that's a good storytelling device or tradition.
I suppose so, but it's a bit unusual to start the game with a battle with LeChuck. That's a strange place
That's
to
Curse
start.
of Monkey Island.
That is exactly how the third game started, though.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. It was how Curse of Monkey
I know what you're
Island
saying.
started,
that Telltale might be doing it to a far
And you
greater
don't-
degree.
They're not, are they? It's not quite Battle of the Chuck, is it?
Well, it does. No, he's right. They do make it sound like the game sort of opens up with sort of a climactic battle or sort of like a climax to a
suppose-
story we haven't seen.
To be fair, I've ignored all the previews, basically, including our own.
Yeah.
I suppose in Curse of Monkey Island, he sort of stumbles upon a battle with LeChuck. He doesn't. He's not going there with
Well,
the
still open
purpose of
one.
defeating LeChuck, and it seems like at the beginning of Tales of Monkey Island, this is the moment that he's been waiting for in the fictional Monkey Island 5,
It doesn't matter.
where he's finally going to defeat LeChuck.
Right.
and,
Yeah. Now I see what
I
you're
like
saying.
it. Oh, that's a good way to start.
Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
I do like it.
Right. So what are they gonna do with Monkey Island 5? Do you think? I mean, are they gonna? Is LucasArts
Well,
gonna
it's
make
just
that
fictional.
or what? Oh, I mean,
Yeah,
surely someone's gonna
It's
make
imaginary, literally.
that. Well, someone's got to make it at one point, surely.
Well,
Well,
I
Telltale
think this.
do
The
that.
Phantom Menace.
You know, this is Monkey Island 5. It's the fifth Monkey Island game. This whole Monkey Island 6, I think it's like Chris said, it's kind of like an Indiana Jones thing. They just kind of want to be able to start the game without having to explain the story gap, maybe.
Yeah, it's just a throwaway
Yeah.
quote from him about
Maybe
that Monkey Island
it's
5,
just-
Monkey Island 6 thing. It doesn't. I don't think he meant it to be taken literally.
Oh,
Yeah,
I see.
that-
Okay.
That's what I
do
think
literally.
too.
It's just a way of thinking about it, you know.
It also
Yeah.
sounds like they're trying to deflect criticism, like, you know, the expectation that a Monkey Island 5 would have to be a full-fledged 25-hour,
Yeah.
Yeah.
traditional adventure game.
Yeah, that's
This-
what Dave Grossman was saying about it when he was asked about it in interviews.
Now, something they also said was that Tales of Monkey Island, more so than any previous Telltale series, would work together as a whole a lot.
That made me more
like
excited.
it's going to be less self-contained, the episodes, it sounds like. And I'm kind of curious to the extent. I guess the parts that make up the previous Monkey Island games is going to be like part 1 and part 2. I'm kind of curious as to how they would divided up like that.
That's
Well, I've heard someone in Telltale say that we'll be surprised how much of a whole game it feels by the end of the series. It will feel like a one big game rather than a series
Good.
more than anything else.
No, I'm very happy with that.
I-
That's sort of how I've always imagined a Telltale episodic thing should be. I mean, it's like Grim Fandango with the years, Monkey Island with the chapters.
Yeah. And I think
What I've always
Monkey...
wanted them to do is let one chapter for an episode,
Yeah, and I
and then
think...
keep going.
I think Monkey Island also just lends itself better to being this big epic thing.
Yeah.
You know, Sam and Max, it does make more sense for it to be separate, smaller things. Although I do
Yeah.
think with season 2, that was about as close to a singular big adventure game that I was ever expecting Telltale to do. I thought they did a pretty good job with Sam and Max season 2 feeling like one big adventure game.
Certainly, I think it came together at the end. I thought that both seasons actually were fairly hit and miss, but when they were good, they were really good. And when they were best was when they were telling this bigger story, I think.
And assuming that each of the 5 Monkey Island episodes will be a part, I mean, you know, in the previous games, the parts were kind of different lengths. Like, you know, like the final part of all the Monkey Island games is kind of like intentionally really brief. The Guybrush kicks butt or whatever the variation was of the game. I guess this time they're sort of confined to making all the chapters of a singular length.
Well, that doesn't matter too much, does it?
Well, that reminds me of Sam and Max again, actually, because at the end of each of the individual episodes, there's always a kind of boss battle-esque moment where they have to do some sort of adventure-y puzzle in a limited, closed space, a bit like the end of the Monkey Island games were. So maybe they'll have a sort of mini-climax at the end of each episode, and then the last episode will have a sort of more extended climax.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they could just say you could theoretically have like multiple parts in one episode. Not that this is a big deal to me. I'm just kind of thinking, comparing how I might have to make a Monkey Island game in an episodic format.
I don't really see them making sort of multiple parts, as in having the chapter music for Monkey Island within several
they
times
will.
within one episode.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I see what you mean.
But-
But probably only be once right at the beginning.
Yeah,
Although
I'd love to hear that music right at the beginning of each chapter.
Yeah.
I bet it will. I bet they will.
I have to say, I'm very excited about the music for both this and the special edition.
Michael Land.
Yeah.
Michael
The
Land.
Michael Z. Land.
I can't. I geeked out when I saw that
Mm.
on the Telltale site.
I made,
That's
I
pretty
made,
awesome.
yeah, I
Very
made the
awesome.
noise of a pig being strangled, which is the only appropriate noise to make.
I concur with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because one thing that I always loved about Michael Land is the bass lines that he puts into everything. They're just they really add to it, because he's a bass player himself, and
Right.
he obviously puts a lot of work into that, and I think that's a lot of what makes Monkey Island music feel like Monkey Island music is what's going on in the background there.
And of
It's
course,
a shame he hasn't done much in the last few years.
no, I don't know what he's been doing. Didn't he
At
work in
least-
SimCity? Or was that
At
someone
least
else?
not that I'm aware of. I don't know what he's done since LucasArts, honestly. Now, he's composed for all 4 Monkey Island games, right? Like, he did the first
Yeah.
game, the third game kind of by himself, and for parts 2 and 4, he kind of shared responsibilities with Clint and
Clint Jack and
Peter?
Peter McConnell.
Was-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, Peter McConnell.
yeah. So yeah, it's really cool
Usual three.
to see that he's back.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think it would be the same without him. I think they had to get him.
Although I
Yeah.
will say, I was assuming that Jared Emerson Johnson would be doing it, and that that wouldn't have been a problem for me, because I mean he has been pretty
No, me neither.
consistently awesome in
Oh,
all
he's
of
been
the
great.
Telltale games. But
Yeah,
it
he
sounds,
has.
Yeah, definitely give him his due.
yeah, it sounds like he's got too many projects to do. Like he's going straight from Wallace and Gromit to Sam and Max, I think.
Well, he's
Well,
really
Sam and
nailed
Max-
Sam and Max, I think, hasn't he?
Yeah, that seems to be his thing. He
Yeah.
owns that music now, really.
Mm.
And I think at
Which are
the
Oh,
the,
sorry,
the
go.
identity of a series is really keyed up with the music. Like for it
Yeah.
to be properly Monkey Island, it has to have the right music. That's really important.
So
I'm
what
glad
are-
they've got that right.
Oh, I keep cutting everybody off.
That's all right.
What are like specific things that you guys would like consider like necessities for a Monkey Island game? Like what was
very
like smaller things, like
Mm.
like
Stan.
Stan. Yeah, Yeah, I was telling Jake I think it's like necessary that the Control W gag be included because that's in all 4 games.
Yes.
Yeah.
Stan is in all 4 games. Although I do agree about Stan just because he is in all 4, but I hope they don't make the mistake of Monkey Island 4 and like bringing back just everybody possible just for seemingly the sake of it. Did anyone maybe get that feeling in the?
I don't know.
part
From
4?
what I've heard,
No, I don't.
I don't think they will be. What were you saying,
No.
Chris?
No, they brought back a few characters from Melee.
Yeah.
Just like the main sort of crew.
They brought back
Murray and
they
Stan.
brought back, aside from LeChuck and the Voodoo Lady and Elaine, who are the main characters, they brought back
And Stan,
Otis and Carla
Otis,
and
Carla,
Meat
Meat
Hook
Hook.
and Murray and
That's
Herman.
And Murray
you
was
know,
completely pointless in that game.
And to
he
be
was.
fair, you know, there were a lot of cameos in Part 3, but they just seemed less forced. Like, Part 3, what I like about Curse of Monkey Island is that, you know, as much as it referenced the previous games, it did feel like its own game, and I hope Telltale's version kind of goes that route too.
Yeah, I think it will. I mean, from what I heard is that they're not returning to previous islands for the start of the series. I think I read that. I might have just
There's
made
no
that
need
up.
to.
Yeah, which is good.
I think what they said is that there's not going to be a central hub for the game either. It's not. It's
Right.
going to be much more. Each
good.
game takes place in a completely different location with new
Right.
stuff going on.
Okay, that's quite cool. I like that.
That really excites me to go.
Yeah.
That I know when I go into the next part of the game, I'm going to be exploring all new locations and maybe with a completely different mood to the last time. And someone also said that the mood is going to change a lot over the course of the series.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It sounds like if he returns to any island, it won't be any more than it was in Monkey Island 1 when he returned to Melee at the end, or Monkey Island 4 when he kind of returned to Melee between, I think it was the Lucre Island segment. So that is pretty cool, that it won't all be confined to this one hub area.
I just thought of something that really makes Monkey Island for me is the maps. When you have the map of the island, and then you have the amazing music, and then you click on all the locations. And actually, we haven't had a good map in a Telltale game yet. I don't think Sam & Max has maps, if I remember rightly. Strong Bad had the really, really bad map function. I hated that. I didn't see the point of
I liked
putting.
it.
It just confused me. And then
good for
Wallace and Gromit I haven't
It'd
played.
been was it have a separate button or was it the inventory?
Yeah, I think it was
that
the I don't know what it was. And then
It
you
was
had to
just-
put the location.
It was just a
it was
button.
stupid.
There was a map button. There was an
Yeah, there was
arrow
a map
and
Yeah,
button.
that's right. I thought so.
But it wasn't a good
I
map.
think the reason for them to do that map style in Strong Bad was that they'd never really said where these locations were in the Strong Bad
Right,
Homestar
I
Runner
see,
world,
yeah.
and so they didn't want to pin it down. They didn't want Telltale to pin it down.
Okay.
But because
fair enough, I
people,
guess.
I mean, it's the sort of series that people obsess over the details in. So they got around it by just saying, well, let's let the players put wherever they like, so that there's no right answer.
Now,
Which is a
I'm
good way of
looking-
getting around it.
I'm definitely
Gabriel, when
looking
you
forward
say
to getting a.
when you say you'd like to see a map, you mean like in Monkey Island 2, where like you have you can click on an island? Because
No,
Monkey
no, no,
Island
I
2
mean-
was the
No,
only
no,
game.
the individual island map, I presume.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean just the
yeah.
island maps. Yeah.
Okay, the
yeah, in
overhead,
all the
yeah.
games.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the
Um,
things that I think is really important to me is the verb line "use fish with box" or whatever at the bottom of the screen. I think it's important that makes a comeback because it seems, I don't know, it just seems like Monkey Island doesn't really work without it. I don't know why.
That doesn't seem like I think that's pretty disposable in my opinion. But like they are bringing back the item combination, which is kind of interesting because like if you look at Monkey Island 3, that was based off the Full Throttle engine, which had kind of changed the inventory up so that it was like just a handful of items. You could do nothing but look at them, like you couldn't combine them. And like Curse of Monkey Island retained Full Throttle's engine, but changed the inventory because you apparently can't have a Monkey Island game or you can't combine inventory. And what's funny is that the exact same thing happened with Escape from Monkey Island. They pretty much stole Grimm's engine, but one of the few modifications they made was to redo the inventory so that you can combine items. It's like Tim
But the other
Schafer
thing that they did
Yeah.
was add the verb line that I was just talking
Right.
about to Escape
That's
from
true,
Monkey
too.
Island.
Is that something that Telltale's doing? I forget is that in a screenshot? They brought the sentence line back?
The sentence line, it's not on any of the screenshots yet, but they haven't finalized the interface either, because I seem to remember reading somewhere that they were playing it with a keyboard, which isn't final because they haven't pinned down the interface yet. So that might.
I do
still
agree.
be to come.
I do like that.
I mean,
Well,
I
it just
like
kinda remi-
I
it
like the
reminds me
sentence. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
It reminds me so much of that great bit in the first Monkey Island game where they're having the fight behind the painting and behind the wall in the mansion. And
But-
it's just all in the sentence line that you can see what's happening.
But I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I mean, they were making, that gag was making fun of an interface that they kind of had to have. I mean, that interface was in the game because at the time that was the best and most streamlined thing they could do or could come up with. And the game was kind of just making fun of that. But I mean, it sounds like retaining the sentence line for a 2009 Monkey Island game, it sounds like that's fueled more by nostalgia than because there's any real reason to include it. I mean,
Wallace and Gromit.
Oh, that's what you mean by sentence line?
What do you mean?
Well,
Sorry.
I'm trying to remember how Wallace and Gromit. I don't remember making sentence lines in Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah, when you like do actions and things, they in the top right corner, at least on the 360 version, it says use thing with thing when you're doing stuff.
Oh, that. Yeah.
Oh, so you just mean having the
I
word
thought you
like
mean
use
rolling.
appear when you click on something? Okay.
Yeah, but having the whole sentence constructed as well. I don't know why it's important to me. I don't know why I should care about it, but for some reason it just makes it feel more Monkey Island-y to me. I don't know what it is.
I like it when you're trying out something completely ridiculous, because you always do, and that's how you play a Monkey Island game. You think, I'm stuck. Well, let's try using the monkey on the thingamajig or whatever,
Waterfall.
and then you try it, and it's quite funny to see it actually spelt out for you.
Oh.
Thinking, this is what my life has become. This is how surreal everything is now. And then you either laugh or you cry, I suppose.
Yeah, I love it when it mocks you for trying stupid things.
Mm.
Yeah, actually, I mean that. Just thinking about the remake, the sort of upgrade. That's what I wonder about. That is that there's going to be so much more dialogue possibly in that game because they could just spew out these random things. Maybe they were more restricted when they made Curse of Monkey Island because they knew they were going to have to record every line. I wonder if there's going to be a lot more of these hidden bits of dialogue that most people will never get to hear in the new Secret of Monkey Island.
What?
Secret Monkey Island's quite short, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like,
there's not
it's
much
quite a small
dialogue.
combined
Wait,
game,
which
really.
which one?
Yeah.
The first one?
Secret Monkey Island. Yeah.
It,
It's quite a small game, really,
not
isn't
the
it?
first time. I mean, every game is small when you know how to beat it. I mean, it's a
I
pretty.
mean, in terms of dialogue, where to go,
I think
things to do.
I think it's a pretty healthy size. I gotta say. I mean, yeah, I could beat it in probably a half hour. Or not much longer than that. That's only because I know all the puzzles and can like.
We're talking about in terms of dialogue. We're not talking about actual progression.
I don't know.
In terms of dialogue, combinations.
I mean, Monkey Island doesn't have anyone in it apart from Herman, and Melly.
yeah.
That's
not
true.
that many
Cannibals.
characters.
Yeah.
When I first played it, I definitely had that sense of scope that I get from a big game. I mean, I don't consider it. I mean, yeah.
Well,
It just seems so
Melly
hard
did
to quantify the length of an
Yeah.
adventure game you already know how to beat. Like, it's not even possible to
Sorry,
do it.
I sort of derailed the conversation there anyway. Sorry about that.
That's good.
What was the conversation again?
Tales of Monkey
Tales
Oh,
Island.
yeah, that thing.
That game? Okay.
Yeah.
That's so 2006.
Well, Dominic is back, which is awesome.
Yeah,
Yay.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Is Elbow in, though? He is in the special edition,
Mhm.
but he didn't seem to be in Tails.
Yeah, he is in the special edition, but not Tales, or at least not what we've heard of
That's
Tales.
odd to me.
So, yeah, that's kind of weird.
But the other thing that I've heard is that the replacement voice is pretty good, and it's better than it might appear in the trailer as well.
I was saying with the Tam and Max ones. I remember
Yeah.
them being awful in the first trailer.
I've heard good things about the new voice and that it's pretty close to what the Elbone voice was.
Yeah, and
As
I
long
mean,
as
the
I-
voodoo... Yeah, sorry.
Go on.
Well, the voodoo lady was the same woman in Curse of Monkey Island and Escape from Monkey Island, it doesn't sound like it's the same actress in this one. But I think we can all agree that
She's in Secret.
Guybrush is and Secret.
Yeah.
Wait, it's
as long
the
as they've got
Curse
Dominic.
woman in Secret.
Yeah, in the special edition, definitely.
It is.
It is, promise.
Okay, well, I was just gonna say, Dom is obviously the important one, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Well,
really
the first
difficult.
person to be outraged if Dom wasn't in it would
Oh,
be
sure.
Dom. So
Yeah. It's really difficult to come up with a fake Dom. I mean, in fact, there's it's kind of a bit sad actually. The Secret of Monkey Island speech project, which if you look at some of the videos, they were doing a pretty good job. I guess they're going to abandon it now. I don't know, maybe they won't. But
sounds like they already did.
Oh, did they? I haven't checked on their website.
I haven't heard any updates.
Yeah, well,
It's a bit pointless now.
they did. There's a pretty good fake Dom going about, but even though he's really good, he doesn't sound anything like Dom.
I like the one they used for Beneath Monkey Island.
Yeah,
the
that's
Nightlife
him. I
Productions
can't remember his name.
Is it?
Tom Negret. Actually, I think there's two of them, and they're
I
really
quite
good.
liked him.
I haven't
Well,
heard
I
anything.
think-
yet.
anything
I
like
think the
Dom.
reason that it's so difficult to get a Dom-alike is that is that as good as he is for the voice, and he's brilliant for the voice, and he does all of his lines brilliantly, it's a fairly sort of nondescript voice. It's difficult to pin down,
Yeah.
and that sort of voice is always the hardest to imitate.
Yeah, the other thing is that he doesn't sound like he's doing much acting. That's just his voice, and it's kind of hard to mimic that. I mean, if you're trying to
Yeah.
go for some generic demonic pirate voice, you might be able to sound pretty close, but Dom is that's just him. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's a very genuine performance.
Yeah. Actually, on the voices, I was surprised to find that they're going back to Curse of Monkey Island Elaine, who is English, and in Escape from Monkey Island, she was American. So I'm pretty happy that Elaine's English again. Not that necessarily matters. I just think it's interesting.
I was
Although I
kind of
sound a bit
curious about
racist
that.
now.
Did you?
Yeah.
I actually preferred the Monkey Island 4 Elaine. I didn't prefer her attitude.
I did too.
But I think the voice sounded more like that. I don't know. She sounded a little bit more like I would have expected her to sound when I played the first two games. But I don't mind that the Curse Elaine is back. When I played Curse of Monkey Island, she felt a little bit too much like
She's barely in Curse.
Well, she felt a little bit too much like a classic damsel in distress character in Curse for me. Although she did have
Well, yeah,
those
but
moments where
yeah.
she.
That's the writing rather than. Yeah.
She only had about 3 lines.
Yeah, exactly.
And they cut out her big. They cut out her big showdown at the end that she was apparently supposed to have.
Yeah.
So maybe that would have kind of addressed that.
Yeah. Well,
mean, it
hearing the
would-
voices the first time in Curse of Monkey Island was always a strange experience for me
Definitely.
anyway, because especially because I'm English, in my head, everyone was talking in an English accent, and so I had to readjust for a moment. This game was made by Americans, and most people who played it probably were imagining these voices in an American accent. But it did take time for me to adjust, and I think I still do prefer the English-sounding Elaine to the other one. But I always thought the American one was kind of whiny. But I like all the voices
do.
now.
Yeah.
I like us.
Go on.
You can't go.
No, go on, Chris. After you.
I'm with Jason. I prefer the Escape Elaine, and Curse just felt wrong to me. But I can't even remember her name. But also the same way, Earl Bowen. I preferred his performance in Escape to Curse. I'm not sure why. He just didn't sound quite right in Curse. And I don't know if they gave him a bit more bass or something in Escape. He sounded a bit more villainous.
Well, also it's just a factor of them just growing into those roles. Like, I don't think that the writing in Monkey Island 4 is superior to Curse of Monkey Island, but Dom just like he was better than ever in Escape from Monkey Island. In fact, I think Escape from Monkey Island has some of the best voice acting ever. Like, there's not one wrong.
Yeah.
There's not one miscast person in that game.
Yeah, that's one of the best things about it.
Not a statement about the quality of the dialogue, just the voice acting.
I wonder if they do bring back Stan, which Stan they'll use.
Yeah, they changed him. Like, in Curse, he was just sort of a he was that kind of mild-mannered salesman kind of character. Like, he wasn't wacky
he
enough.
He had a pretty deep voice, and he talked fairly slowly in Curse, which I wasn't really sure about.
And then in
But-
Escape, he was kind of like a Jim Carrey type guy. In my imagination, he's somewhere in between the two
Yeah.
versions.
I'm with that.
Yeah.
He's a
I
little
hope
bit more hyper.
actually, I hope they find a new actor for Stan.
Yes.
Yeah. He's more hyper than he is in Curse, but not quite as hyper as he is in Escape.
The one person who has to be the same is Murray, though. It has to be Denny Dowk.
Yeah.
If they bring him back.
They cannot recast him.
If they bring him back.
If they bring him back, yeah. I think someone said there'll be lots of old characters that come back, but probably not your favourite one, and I'm not sure what they meant by that.
I would
Maybe
love
they meant
Largo to
Murray.
come back. Largo, I'd love to see more of. And actually,
Yeah,
even though it sounds a bit weird, I'd quite like Dominic Amata to voice Largo, because he did it in the Mix and Mojo April Fools, and he did it really well as an Irish
Because he did it in the
character, if I
April
remember
Fool's
rightly.
gag.
Yeah, he did it so well. I think he voiced the duck in Escape from Monkey Island as well, so he's got lots of many talents. But if you listen to
Like the
Dominic
puppets in Escape.
Amato's, he's got like a demo track.
Yeah.
It was floating around as an MP3. He does fantastic voices. He does so many good ones. He's a fantastic actor. I'm so glad he's doing some more.
If you guys
voice work,
listening
'cause he's
don't know
just
what we're
been
talking about,
banished
go to soundtracks.mixandmojo.com. I'm pretty sure his demo tape is on there.
Is it?
Or it's
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
Scum
yeah,
Bar.
it's
at
good
least.
stuff.
It's available somewhere in the obvious places. Yeah.
So yeah, I'd like them to utilize him a bit more, which makes sense in these credit crunch times, to reuse actors. So a bit of satire.
On the previous podcast, I was saying that like in the off chance that a Monkey Island 5 would be announced, it would be sort of weird that it would exist in the same world as Ghost Pirates of Vuju Island. And now, that is a reality. We've got like these two. We've got these two
We've got to mention that.
supernatural themed supernatural pirate themed adventure games being made by ex LucasArts people, and suddenly they're being thrown into the same general time frame. I think
Yeah,
it's
I think it's brilliant.
I feel sorry for
it's
them.
gonna help. I think it might actually help Bill Tiller's game, where
Mm.
like they might actually help each other because they each kind of make the other even more relevant.
Mm. I
And
think
plus-
Bill Tiller's game will have the best art because from the screenshots, and that's not a criticism of Telltale.
Yeah.
It's just that Vujo Island has shit hot art.
Yeah, you cannot compete with hand drawn illustrations
you
by
can't,
Bill
no.
Tiller. I mean, it's not even close.
No.
Mm.
But yeah. But yeah, I look at it as like now we get 2 Monkey Islands basically, or
Well, we basically get 3 actually.
Yeah.
It's insane. I mean, what has happened with the world? This is a week ago.
Yeah.
We had nothing and no chance of anything, and now we've got 3 Monkey Island games, and hell hath frozen over. It's insane.
And Monkey Island's on the main LucasArts page
Oh, it's
as
brilliant.
their main game. It's their only internally developed game.
What's going on? I'm
And
scared.
I'm scared, yeah.
And I remember
I'm confused.
when I was watching that making of video that LucasArts put up, and they would show all these people working in the company, I was like, wow, they have an art director and a composer. They really do have people
Yeah,
working
people.
there. Crazy.
They must be the most bored people in the world.
Well, maybe this is what I mean.
Them in the 3D realms,
so,
guys.
So they fired everyone after Force Unleashed, except for like this handful of people, and they've just been working on this Monkey Island remake. Is that what we're supposed to believe? I don't know.
I hope so.
I just really hope that
All of them.
I hope it's successful enough for LucasArts to justify doing more of this with their other games.
Loom.
Or just releasing them in general. I mean, even if they don't update them, it would be nice for them
Loom.
to. You like Loom? I love Loom.
Loom.
Oh, I love Loom.
I like Loom.
Everyone likes Loom.
Okay.
Yeah, we've
It's
established
it's still advertised in the Monkey Island 1 special
Yes, it
edition.
is,
That's
yeah.
what
I
I
like
love.
that. I do like
That's
that.
brilliant.
I also like how Spiffy the dog has finally gotten his due in close-up form.
Yeah. See, because I had the Amiga version, but it still had that box art, I always thought in my head that in the PC version with its extra colours and amazingness, they had the full screen Spiffy, but obviously that I now know that's not true.
Yeah,
it'll
they
be
just
good to
never
finally
bothered.
see it.
I just never bothered
I
to
only
put
found out that he was on the box art like yesterday. When Adventure Gamers mentioned it. I didn't realise that.
You know what I'm thinking? I wonder if they'll get rid of the stump joke, because the PC
No,
version
no,
of
they
Monkey
won't.
Island 1 actually got rid of that joke, and they even removed the reference to it in the credits. I think someone is credited as like
It's in the bounty pack, though.
It's in the what?
It's in the bounty pack. The one they released on CD.
Yeah, but okay. Well, that's probably maybe it's the floppy disk version on CD. I'm talking about the one with. Well.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. Well.
I know what you mean. Yeah. The put in disc 1, put in disc
Yeah,
47.
yeah.
Yeah, that I don't think that actually is in the CD version. No.
Yeah, they
But
took
if
it
they're
out.
maybe
It's
they'll
kinda
put
weird.
it back because if they're aware enough to put in Spiffy, which was just a box thing, a thing on the back of the box, maybe they're aware enough to bring back the stump joke as well. I'd love to see it and see what they did with it in the enhanced version.
They could easily update it for
Yeah.
download this new patch or whatever. I mean, I
Yeah,
wondered
yeah.
if they would update other areas, like for instance the Tell Me About Loom thing. They could have made it about fracture or something crap like that. So I'm glad they've not done that.
I'm glad.
But they could
Oh,
have
you're
done.
really
They
selling
probably
it.
thought about it.
Tell me about Indiana Jones and the Staff of Kings. No, don't.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It's shit.
Tell me about Fate of Atlantis inside Indiana Jones and the Staff of Kings.
That's more like it.
Yeah.
I never did get that review copy, so it looks like I'm buying it to get the review on time.
No, if it does turn up, it'll be 3 weeks from now.
Yeah, that's what happened with the Vampire Story game. Like,
Lego,
Yeah.
Lego Indie as well. I was getting that.
but anyway, back to
Damn, I
Tales
should
of
be
Monkey
getting some
Island.
free games.
Just back-
We'll carry on with the special edition. We'd got into that.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
talk about the special edition. What else? Because there's that
I-
joke where you
Oh,
fall
what-
off the edge
sorry.
of the cliff as well in Monkey Island 1, and it's like a Sierra death.
I would really
scream,
want.
isn't it?
I would say they should definitely keep that, but then I still don't understand why they would even have taken the stump joke out of the CD version of the game. I mean, did they really think someone was going to be fooled? Did they really? Were they that afraid that they needed to remove it and the reference to it in the credits? I mean,
Well,
it's a,
yeah, I don't know.
I'm sure just as many people would have been fooled in the original game, thinking, "Where is Disc 22?" But anyway,
One person I want to mention, I've watched one of the videos as for the secret, the one where with LeChuck and Bob talking in the ship,
Oh yeah.
and I love Bob's voice. He's so brilliant. He's brilliantly acted.
Yeah,
He's
he's got this
different to
great
how
sort
I
of
imagined.
nebbish voice. Yeah.
Yes.
He's different to how I imagined, but he's brilliant. I agree.
I did not expect that scene to have a narrator, to be preceded by a narrator. Like I
Yeah,
thought they
me
would
too,
just
yeah.
keep the text over on top, but I guess anyway.
Yeah,
I don't-
I'm not entirely sold on the narrator voice, but it's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, there's only a couple of lines.
Yeah.
because I never imagined that even intended to be spoken by somebody, but it was just an observation. Kind of weird.
No, I
Yeah.
agree.
One thing we're hoping that the voice acting or the music could possibly be put over into the original version when you swap it over, or some sort of option.
I'd really like that because sometimes I would like to go back to the original graphics, but man, that new music sounds good from what I've heard of it so far.
Yes. Then the Scumbar, but that's about yeah.
I hope they
I
release
mean,
the soundtrack.
on-
I really
All
hope
of the
they
voice
do.
acting does sound great too.
Mm.
LucasArts has always been really good with voice acting in general.
Yeah.
They don't seem to
And
have
music.
lost that.
Actually, I also.
Force Unleashed's music was actually good.
What did you say?
Sorry, Cam. I was saying Force Unleashed's music and voice acting is actually still really good.
Is it?
Yeah,
You-
but
right.
yeah, carry on.
Yeah, I hope they release the soundtrack. I also hope they release the Curse of Monkey Island soundtrack.
And Escape from Monkey
so-
Island, Monkey Island 2,
that is a
Monkey Island.
phenomenal
Well, I mean,
soundtrack.
specifically Curse of Monkey Island, because we haven't had a proper CD quality release. And
It would be nice to hear it. It's got a great soundtrack. They all
That
Yeah.
is- that is a game that deserves an album.
Sorry.
No, I was just saying that is definitely a game that deserves an album.
Yeah, that would surprise me. That didn't.
I mean, there are files. I won't say any more. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But there are apparently. Someone told me. It is kind of ready somewhere, and it sounds amazing. And the soundtrack sounds different to how it is in the game. Not only is it better
Right.
quality, it's also more
Right,
complete.
different arrangements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
All-
Escape from Monkey Island has some nice music as well, so I wouldn't say no to that. But particularly Curse of Monkey Island probably has the best.
All of Curse's music
quality
is
soundtrack.
available though, right? Like hasn't.
Yeah. It's quite low quality though. It's not CD quality.
Yeah. Right.
And the trouble with the in cutscene ones,
Yeah.
where there's all the sound and the voices and stuff. I want it without.
That was what
There's some brilliant stuff in there.
and like
Yeah.
Escape from Monkey Island. like none of the cutscene music is available. Like I think except for the ending one, because like Clint Bajakian, I have no idea how to say that.
Yeah.
He put
It's,
like the big
Juju.
he put that big 10-minute composition from the final cutscene like on his website, and then LucasArts made him shut it down.
Really annoyed me.
Yeah.
I missed getting it.
Oh, I think I might have that. I'm not sure.
No,
Hey!
that has been.
Put up.
You can no. It's on soundtracks.mix and Mojo. It was
Is it?
preserved by fans, obviously, but
Yeah.
the LucasArts lawyers obviously prevented Clint from putting any additional cutscene music on there, and that's what I'm pissed off about.
Well, I'm
Okay.
pretty sure, like, one good thing about Telltale... Well, there's loads of good things about Telltale, but, I mean, there's going to be a good soundtrack release, for sure.
Yes.
they
Yeah, they do
there'll
show
probably
respect to their
Well,
soundtracks.
good
I have
merchandise.
asked Emily Morganti, their PR lady,
Lovely Emily.
about possibility of a soundtrack and merchandise and that, and especially a soundtrack. And she says it's up to LucasArts.
Oh, is it? Right. Well, I'd be surprised if
they have
LucasArts said
full
no.
merchandise and yeah.
I mean, will they say no to
I bet they
money?
do more.
Because it will be money.
Yeah.
I mean, they could... I'm sure Sam & Max soundtrack has sold well enough to justify it. I would have thought.
I'm sure they're badgering them about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially getting Michael Land. That's quite cool.
Yeah.
More listen to them.
I
I'm
wonder what
curious
his
as to
middle
what-
name is.
What the exact relationship is between LucasArts and Telltale. I mean,
Well, it's very much like you know, with the Chapman brothers and with Aardman. It's just kind of we're licensing
Right.
out their product so they can return it at any time. But
right, but
you know,
presumably LucasArts gets like
Telltale
some
are pretty
profit.
safe
I mean,
pair of hands. I would have thought with licenses, they've sort of proved that.
Yeah. Like, do they get to sell it on their own? I'm sort of that's what I'm kind of fuzzy on. I mean, it
right,
definitely
yeah.
sounds like Telltale is both developing and publishing the games, but LucasArts, you know, obviously has some sort of. I mean, it's on their site as well, their own site.
Yeah, they get a cut of the money, I should think, and they get a say on probably a final say on things.
Mhm.
They have to okay everything. I don't know.
Maybe they're just getting the same deal that everyone else has got.
Yeah, I reckon that's probably right.
Good. I don't mind.
We've decided.
Yeah, it seems to work.
Okay.
As long as there's a soundtrack CD,
Yep,
I don't
I'll be
mind.
happy. I'll be very happy. I'm very, very happy, actually. Well, if the rest of my life wasn't so miserable, I would be the happiest man in the world. Because this is
Wow.
brilliant news. I hope my computer will be able to run it, actually. That's the other thing. I hope it's not too high tech. It doesn't look too high tech.
Do you have a Wii?
You run the other ones?
No, I don't. I wish I did. My sister has, actually, but I don't think I can use that.
Have
But
you-
I'm Mighty Morphin Power tempted to buy one. I mean,
Have
I
you
won't,
played
but-
at least one Sam & Max episode though?
Oh yeah, on PC. Yeah. I imagine if I can run Sam & Max, I can run TMI. I would have thought.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
they're good.
they
at that.
should be able to, I should be able to tweak the settings a bit, but run it in 640
Yes, definitely.
times
Yeah.
480 or whatever. As long as I can run the damn thing and listen to it, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good.
Monkey Island.
We should edit this bit out. Edit this awkward pause out. What else can we talk about?
Ooh.
Well,
Because we don't know much about the story at all.
Yeah, well, I try.
I'm purposefully avoiding the
Yeah, me too.
story.
Something about pox, but I don't know.
yeah,
It's
there's
all good.
Pox going on. Something about turning pirates into mindless zombies or something.
That
I don't
sounds
know.
good.
That's Escape from Monkey Island.
Oh wait, yeah.
There is a part of me that's tempted to wait until the whole thing's done, just because it's supposedly being built as one big game. But that's not gonna happen. But
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to being able to play this episode by episode, because in previous Telltale games I've waited till the end because I haven't been that interested actually, and I think there's something to be gained of kind of playing it at the same time as everyone else and then speculating on the next episode and waiting a few weeks. And that sounds like fun.
Yeah,
I mean,
especially if they do it in a kind of, as they said they were going to do it, having cliffhangers at the end and really
Yeah.
leading up to the next episode. It's going to be really exciting every month, speculating as to where it's going to go next.
Because I haven't really felt that with Sam & Max. I didn't think that the cliffhangers were that good, actually.
No.
Am I the
have
only
you
one who
played
thinks
all
this?
this? You've played both seasons,
Yeah.
right?
I have, yeah. I just didn't feel I've been talking to some other people about Summon Max, and actually they were like, yeah, this is good, but I'm just not that excited by it.
I can agree with that, actually. I mean,
Hmm.
I liked them, I enjoyed them, but aside from a couple of the episodes, I didn't quite get that old feeling of playing the adventure game. That I was really into it.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I think I'm going to be pretty stoked about Monkey Island because I like that
Yeah.
anyway so much.
And then of course we got straight. I want to bring up the timing though, because it's quite odd that they've still got Wallace and Gromit going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is a bit weird.
And there'll be Monkey Island right in the middle of it.
Do you think they were forced a little bit by LucasArts to release them both at the same time?
Well, I imagine they figure it's two completely separate audiences anyway. Besides, I mean, the third episode of Wallace and Gromit comes out this month, right? And
Yeah,
the last
I haven't
one,
even
the
announced
last
the
one
date
should
for
come
that
out in July, presumably. So there won't be much of an overlap, really.
Well, I guess Telltale are quite a bit bigger than they used to be as well, so they can afford to do this kind of thing now. They can have the teams more split on different projects and that sort of thing.
I'm gonna say that
Yeah.
Telltale
So enjoy it.
intended for it to be released this soon.
I'm glad they did.
Mm.
Just a month to go.
Yeah.
It's still
Yeah,
pretty
I'm
there-
glad
there's
it didn't
70
get
people
leaked
as well. That's
before,
quite
because
surprising.
now
I
it's
didn't
just
realise
so
Telltale
soon.
were that
It'll
big.
come in no
They're probably
time.
bigger than LucasArts,
Yeah.
almost
Yeah.
certainly.
Well, it was rumored for ages, but just didn't believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I-
been
I
rumored.
never believed
It's
it
been
for a
rumored
second.
since 2001. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Same with the special edition. That's always getting rumored.
It started to become
Yeah.
a joke.
No. Yeah. And suddenly they're both at once. Oh, bloody
Yeah.
hell.
Don't think there's ever been so much Monkey Island news at once.
No. Well, we're living in a very different age. Because do you remember when Escape from Monkey Island was announced? We got one tiny screenshot, and I think we spent about 2 weeks discussing this one screenshot, and everyone had all these theories about how Ron was spelt out in the stars. It was all bollocks. And people were like zooming in to
remember
blurred
that.
pieces and like, it's Murray. No, it isn't, you idiot. I kind of miss that because we've got everything at once, which is also cool, I guess, and that's kind of very appropriate for the blogosphere Web 2.0 age, where we get everything downloading straight into our brains. Yeah, it's very 2009.
What annoys me most about Tales is that so many people seem to be complaining about it on the
It's
forums.
ridiculous. It's pure mix and mojo.
Well, I
Twats.
mean,
Oh,
I don't really see a lot
if
of.
it's just the 3D.
I don't really
Yeah.
see a lot of complaining. I mean, there's like that one ridiculous thread about. I mean,
Yeah.
to me, anything exciting that gets announced, you're gonna have complaints. I mean,
Yeah.
I see it as a positive thing because you go on the Telltale forums, you see people there who have obviously never been there before, or haven't been there in a while. So, I mean, I think the only thing I would take from the excitement on the forums, both positive and negative, is that people are excited. People, care about the game. Even if, majority of what people are saying is complete rubbish. I mean, there's a new Monkey Island game coming out, and you're sort of getting that community speculation thing kind of out of it, and that's something you haven't seen in a while.
I've
But
seen
yeah.
some more sort of negative comments on the general internet. Some people saying that they think the visuals look really bad, and I don't think they understand that a lot of what's been shown at E3 is kind of early as far as graphical polish goes, and that there's going to be better lighting and better shaders on the stuff by the time that the game gets released. That's what I've heard at least, and that it's going to look more polished than it has been in the release stuff so far.
Well,
And
there's a fair bit of that, but like when I went to Kotaku and the mainstream gaming sites and I read the comments, people on the whole seem pretty excited. I mean, I think it's been so long that people want another Monkey Island game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the reaction I've
everyone's
seen,
coming out of the woodwork.
right, and that's the main thing. But yeah, the
think-
complaints about the controls I think are completely ridiculous. I mean, Wallace and Gromit was not bad at all. I mean, even if there were problems with it, they were not problems that you would need to make a 10-page thread over.
Mm.
I don't know.
No.
I guess.
No.
Sorry,
I guess
what? What is it about the controls? I must have missed
keyboard.
Just the fact that apparently something more than a mouse may be involved to get certain people completely insane. Like, I don't know.
I think people are a bit still. Some people are sore about Emmy, Escape from Monkey Island, and the control system was awful in Escape from Monkey Island. I will defend that game, but I won't defend the controls. And they're just going. We really don't want you to screw this up.
And
that's probably why they're complaining a bit.
And that's what I understand. I mean, people, as much as they complained about Escape from Monkey Island's controls, they obviously put up with it. And it's so obvious that Telltale's version, even though we don't know much about it, it's so obviously going to be better than that. It just seems like there wouldn't be so much whining. Because if it's anything like Wallace and Gromit is still a point-and-click game. The only difference is you use the keyboard to walk. I mean, everything else is still point-and-click. You still point-and-click to interact with the environment and to, drag inventory items onto things. It just doesn't seem like such a bold enough change that it should inspire so much negativity. But I guess that's just the nature of the thing. And I think Monkey Island fans...
I was wondering about...
Well, no, go ahead.
We fear change.
Yeah,
I
right.
was wondering about how Wallace and Gromit worked on the PC, because I played the demo on the 360 the other day, and it is a bit awkward on the 360, where you walk with one of the thumbsticks and the other thumbstick you use to sort of point towards different objects. But
I bet that is.
Yeah, and I have
it gets a bit annoying.
Yeah, I have a PC gamepad, and I found it kind of awkward, but for the keyboard and mouse controls, I was fine with it. I mean,
Yeah,
that
that sounds fine.
Nothing more than a point-and-click
it is.
adventure game, but you use the arrows to move around. That's the only difference. I mean, it blows my mind that it could get so many people so banana shape.
And I guess how that would be if they decided to do something similar. That's how it would be with the sort of Wiimote and the nunchuck. They just use the nunchuck to walk around and the Wiimote to point at stuff.
Yeah, that sounds perfect to me.
Yeah.
It sounds like the best way to do it. I think Monkey Island fans and maybe even adventure fans in general just tend to be the most protective, even when it doesn't make any sense. Like you said, they fear change.
Yes.
I mean, not to criticize you, Peter, but this idea that we have to have the sentence line back. I mean, I think we're more attached to some of the things that don't necessarily matter. I think that's something that's plagued adventure games just in general, and it's probably a reason they're so they have been bad over the years. Like you play an adventure game from the late 90s or a modern adventure game, and it's like the developers are so keen on making sure the inventory works like the old 1990 game you played, and it's still point and click, and all of the dialogue trees work exactly the same as they did in the old days, but like the games suck because the story is bad and the writing is bad and the world isn't compelling, and that's what an adventure game is in the end.
I absolutely agree with that point. I think that one of the reasons that adventure games sort of went by the wayside a bit is because that they failed to evolve. But at the same time, I don't think there's anything wrong with a bit of nostalgia, especially when Monkey Island is concerned.
Right, and it's not even so much... I don't think adventure games have to evolve. I mean, you look at a Telltale game, they haven't evolved that much. I mean, so far they've all been
No, but then
point-and-click
again, I
games.
think that's one of their problems.
Well, I think Telltale has evolved them. I think they've evolved them by stripping them down to what actually matters. Like, it's all that really matters is the stuff like the story and the characters, and they sort of stripped away the interface, stripped away... I mean, I'm not saying there isn't room for evolution, but I think people are kind of look for evolution kind of in the wrong ways.
Maybe.
Like,
yeah, and by the way, I didn't want to sort of knock Telltale too much there. I was just saying that sometimes in the past, some of their episodes haven't been exactly what I want in adventure games, and they have got better over the years that they've been operating, I think, and I'm really looking forward to what they're doing with Tales.
Yep.
oh yeah, I didn't see you as being overly negative at all. I mean,
Well, if I had one single worry about Tales of Monkey Island, is that it's a WiiWare release. I mean, Strong Bad was intentionally quite simple, because WiiWare only takes up like a few megabytes of space.
yeah, I think you're right in that the fact that it's on WiiWare could, in a lot of ways, dictate what it's going to look like, but, it's also possible they'll just let the PC version...
But on the other hand, they've been making a big thing about them updating the space at at last, so you can have a big SD
Yeah,
card on there now.
right.
stream
And of course,
from it.
Yeah.
CSI
So they
and
might be
Sam
taking
and Max
advantage of that.
have had Wii ports, physical Wii
Yeah.
ports. But I
That,
mean,
it's disc based though.
right.
Yeah, and
and
the stuff,
digital
the
game.
download to SD card and the play from SD card stuff is already in place now. So
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's only a small worry now. I think I'm sure they're going to take advantage of the bigger space.
Well, here's my thing. I don't think that they would have aimed this at a WiiWare release if it had restricted them with what they wanted to do in any way, because they could have just as easily gone for a 360 release if that was the case.
although it sounds like the Wii sales for Strong Bat have been satisfactory, and that probably had a lot to do with it. But I really like the idea of a Monkey Island game on Wii. Anyway, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not the one I'm gonna get, but because I mean I'm gonna get the PC version, but
Yeah.
I just really love.
I still want to.
I do love the idea of a Monkey Island game on the Wii, and the control system that we just said. That really seems
Yeah.
like the absolute perfect way to do it. So
It's odd to me though that they're both on PC, rightfully so, but Secret Monkey Island goes to Xbox, Tales of Monkey Island goes to Wii,
yeah, that is kind of bizarre.
and Sony gets
I'm
Soddle.
not sure what LucasArts was thinking there. I don't know, but
One on one, one on the other, and Sony gets none. Not that I mind that particular circumstance, but I'm sure there's plenty of people who do.
Well, I think the Sony one, it tends to have these more sort of esoteric titles on it so far, is what I've been noticing, is that it doesn't really have... It has kind of weird stuff on there, weird stuff like Flower and
That's actually really
the
good, though.
pixel junk games, and they're good, but they're kind of artsy, and I don't know...
The main complaint is that apart from PC, the consoles are all getting screwed in some fashion. Xbox just gets one, Wii just gets one, Sony doesn't get any, PC gets both, so you can either have one or the other.
Well,
It's
I'd like to
also-
see it on everything.
Someone's
Yeah.
being left out.
I think some of it just has to do with Telltale being in kind of its still relatively in its early days as far as doing the online console thing. There are probably logistical reasons behind the amount of console releases they can do simultaneously.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
still,
I would've-
I don't understand why
It's not the
LucasArts
secret's not going to Wii.
is going only on Xbox Live for the consoles, but whatever.
Well, I would have thought LucasArts has got burnt pretty badly with the whole Staff of Kings, where they had this stupid policy of releasing every game on every platform at the same time, and I think that really is
Yeah.
a dumb policy. It's better to work on one version and get it right, and then maybe bringing out another consoles if it's a success later on.
Yeah, but you'd think that a company with the resources of LucasArts would be able to do that. I mean, lesser companies are able to do big multi-platform releases. I mean, like Traveller's Tales, the ones that do the Lego games, aren't a massive company by any means, but they manage to do these big multi-platform releases.
Well,
Yeah, you're right.
LucasArts aren't a big company either. LucasArts are pretty small at the moment, and they have pretty limited resources, I should imagine. Although they
I
are
don't know
part of this
about that.
massive
Well,
empire.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much money they have, but
Well, now they are.
it does sound like, though, this idea of being on specific consoles, that is kind of what they did. I mean, Force Unleashed and the original Staff of Kings, it was going to be on 360 and PS3. That was their version, and they just kind of recruited other companies to do whatever they had to do to pump it out on all the remaining consoles, just so they could, all the remaining platforms, just so they can be on every platform. But it seems like the actual focus was put on the, like, you know, those two systems or whatever that it was originally intended for.
Anyway, that's off topic a little bit.
Yeah, I have a question, actually, for everyone. Just talking about complaints, there's been a lot of talk about Guybrush's look in the special edition. How
Yeah.
much does that bother you?
Special edition.
It doesn't bother me at all. I mean, it may not be what I would have done, but I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
On the redone cover, he looks really, really odd.
Yeah.
But in game, I have no problem with it at all.
I don't think
Yeah,
it's...
I've got
He
no
looks
problem
like
with
a
the
young version
in-game
of the
art.
Oh,
Curse.
that's quite good. Because for me, I mean, he looks like a weirdo, and it's not right at all. But actually, I think I can get used to it. Like, I just kind of forget about it pretty quickly, I think. And there are more important things, because everything else is brilliant. But
Yeah, I
some
think in
people are
general-
saying,
What
like,
about
they
this-
can't get over
I think
it.
in general, LucasArts did a pretty respectable job, especially with the backgrounds. I think they
Yeah.
I think they did good, did well.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
it makes me wonder how they might
That is
do another adventure game, like special edition remake.
Yeah.
Don't. That's badass territory.
I love badass.
No, I mean, it makes me wonder how they might approach another remake, like how they might do Monkey Island 2 or Loom or something. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Monkey Island 2 would be more difficult because there's a lot more music in it, say, for example.
Yeah.
And, it's just a bigger game in general. It's the backgrounds were way more detailed. Maybe they could dig up the originals and scan them in at a higher resolution, but wow.
That's what I would recommend. That's what I would
It
like
would
to
be
see. I mean,
it
Well,
would
you
still
can-
be a pretty tall order to do a faithful
Yeah.
you're
reproduction
definitely right
of that
about the
game.
music, because like it was.
Depends on how this
It
one
was the
goes.
first iMuse game, I think, but it was also like the most complicated, like by far.
Yeah.
Like not even the MIDI based adventure games, not even the other MIDI based adventure games were that complicated with the music. Yeah, that would be interesting
Yeah.
to see them try to tackle that.
Mm.
Well, you can continue the discussion of the Mix and Mojo forums. Should we wrap it up now?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
thought I'd have that
approaching the
little
hour
plug
mark.
for the forums. I felt a bit of a prat doing it though. Are we finished? I mean, because we
Yeah.
don't want to go on too long, do we? Because last time we
Yeah.
went on for
Okay.
about 2 hours.
Well, we're exactly on the hour mark
Yeah.
now, so I think it's a good point
Yeah.
to wrap it up.
I
Thank
think
you
we've
for
said
listening,
everything.
everybody. Monkey Island.
Okay.
Hooray!
All right,
At
give this to
last.
Zarin. Make him go do the
Bye.
work to put this together now.
Okay, so I press stop
Yeah.
now, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Stop. The stop button. Stop.
Stopping.